Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hopenning episode 27. Today, we will be talking with a lovely friend about women and aging. This is our last episode in the month of May, our month that we dedicated to women. We are the Hopenning, a place where hope is happening if you open yourself up to it. Fran is my wonderful co-host, and she is in Northern Alberta, Canada. She's a veteran teacher. She's been teaching for the last 33 years, and she's a rapid transformational therapy practitioner. And my name is Marina, and I am at the moment in Calgary, Alberta. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist specializing in rapid transformational therapy. And that's my full-time job. I grew up singing and still try to do a little bit of that. And yes, we are the Hopenning and we welcome you today. So Fran, tell us more about women and aging.
Well, Marina, you and I are at an age where it seems to be that we're sort of in a transition phase, right? We have gone through, just being a young woman, and we've gone through motherhood, raising children. Now our children are gone and out of the house, and we now get the focus back on ourselves. And I think after we get to have a focus back on ourselves, we really start to think about our own aging. And maybe some of us have aging parents that need to be cared for. And as we see our aging parents get into a phase where they are now we are the caregivers to them, I think that longevity and health and all of that comes really into the forefront. And for women, it's not just about the sagginess and the wrinkles and how firm are my underarm, that kind of thing. It becomes more of how many years are left in my life and how much life is left in my years. Because as we see those people that were so strong in our lives and so capable in our lives suddenly becoming withered away, it brings us home to our own mortality. So in response to women and aging, I did a little bit of research on it, typical of me. And it was super interesting because as you put out to the universe, whatever it is your question is, the universe brings back. Right? So my question to the universe was, okay, let's think about women and aging. What's out there? Well, of course, information comes back. And I had quite the interesting conversation with a group of friends of mine, and we get together every Saturday. Every Saturday we have a Zoom call together. And we're all around the same age, within 5 years or maybe a little bit more. And we often are kind of going through the same thing. And one of our friends is retiring next week from her job. And knowing me, I'm very good at listening to people's words. What do they say? And she started to say things like, what's my life going to look like? This old body didn't get any movement last week. So I've got to get out and do some hiking. I got to get this old body moving, those kinds of words. So like I said, as you give out to the universe gives back to you. And so when in the course of my research over this past week, not only did I think about the words we say, but our outlook on life. What has been our outlook on life up to this point? And whatever it was up to this point is going to be past this point, just because we are going through retirement or the children have left the house. Whatever it was up to now is going to be continuing unless we do a change, unless there's something that changes us. So I know a bit of your history. You know a bit of my history. Marina, what would you say was that definitive point in your life where you changed how you were dealing with life and the change you decided to make to move forwards? Like, I know it, but maybe some of our viewers do not know that yet.
Well, it was for me a cancer diagnosis. That was I always said that there was always this whisper on my shoulder, maybe a little tickle, a little nudge from the universe to kind of, I don't even know how to put it, stop floating through life. Because we can full out live or we can float. And it took cancer, I say I was hit by a 2x4 to change that. But I have to say, Fran, a lot of what you say is really hitting home, because lately I've been struggling with age-related body aches. And I caught myself, I was visiting my son in Halifax last week, and we would go on these long hikes and I would start to limp. And at some point he said to me, "Mom, why are you limping?" And I said, "I'm old." And I had to catch myself. And so I want to say, there was that definitive moment in my life, but I don't think it stopped. I think it's ongoing. I think it's constantly making the choice. When I started to get arthritis in my fingers recently, to make the choice, am I surrendering to that? Or am I going to do 100% everything in my power to get better?
Oh, that's super interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And for me, the change where I stopped floating through life was the breakup of my marriage, right? I had been kind of floating through life, expecting things to get better. I don't know why I expected things to get better when I kept on doing the same thing. That's the definition of insanity. And then the marriage broke up, and then began the beginning of the 12-step program. And the beginning of the 12-step program that I engaged in began my conscious change, right? The conscious choice to change. But one of the main things that I found out about longevity and women and aging is not only about the exercise and the food we eat and the amount of alcohol we drink. Sleep is really super important. And I don't know about you, but I ran on empty most of the time. And there are times when I still run on empty. And it's my choice to do that. I know darn well what sleep studies have said. And I don't know if you know this stuff, but I know it. And yet I still make a choice to not get to bed and get my 7.5 hours of sleep. And why do I do that? Habit, right? So sleep is huge in aging and women. And there were two huge sleep studies that I looked at, and one was with over 4,000 women. And they looked at women who had young mothers, okay, young mothers. And we were both young moms. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers have been young mothers too. And one thing that's very much in common with young mothers is lack of sleep. And if your baby has some issues, they're hard to settle and the rest of that, or they've got some kind of a biological issue that makes it difficult for them, it makes sleep even more difficult for us. So yeah, and the sleep studies that they showed with these 4,000 women was that getting not getting your 7 hours. They made 7 hours the baseline. If you don't get 7 hours of sleep as a young mom within the 6 months, the first 6 months, it affects your biological age by up to 6 to 7 years. I mean, when I think about my own mother, right? Well, like, this story, Marina. My mom had 12 children. So how can you, I just don't know how she did it, but when you've got 12 children and you're constantly for so many years waking up to nurse your baby or to tend to your baby and all of the rest of that stuff, if you don't have a partner who does that for you. And in my generation, my mother's generation, it didn't happen. And so, yeah, my mom died at 77. And my dad, who ate the same food, was basically the same toxins in their universe, he lives to be 96. She died at 77. So isn't that interesting? I think to myself, my mom she was positive, she was happy, but she died young. And so sleep is super important. And when they looked at biological age of people who were losing sleep, even who had interrupted sleep, and I know that we say that a product of aging is interrupted sleep. We wake up in the middle of the night, we use the bathroom, blah, blah, blah. We say, okay, so within quotation marks. And if you hold that in you and you say, yes, I get up in the middle of the night because I'm getting older, we hear those thoughts, we say those thoughts, we believe the thoughts. And so even interrupted sleep shortens the telomeres. Now, what telomeres are, it's on the chromosome. So on a chromosome, your telomere is the end points of your chromosome. And so when your chromosome telomeres are shortened, it affects your biological age. And people who are sleep deprived have shortened telomeres. And they found that in young moms. And therefore, they assume that young moms who don't get enough sleep are going to experience shortened longevity. And but there's a way around that, right? We can fix that. And how do we fix that? Sleep, good sleep habits. Okay. And so in young moms, okay, for maybe the first few months of that child's life, it's not going to sleep well. But after that, let's fix our sleep habits. Let's create rituals around sleep so that I know at 9:30, my timer on my phone rings. It's like, Fran, time to start your sleep habits, which are, okay, I brush my teeth, I do my skin, I maybe stretch and I have a meditation that lasts 15 minutes. Maybe I have some journaling that I do in the evening. I have these sleep habits that become part of my routine that I just engage in just as I would a habit to get myself ready for work. So biological age is super important to aging and longevity.
Okay, I want to put you on the spot here, Fran. If I'm your client, because we know that your thoughts create your emotions create your actions your reality. So if I believe, oh my gosh, I'm shortening my life because I lost all that sleep when I had babies, can you help me?
I can absolutely
Can you
help
change that belief?
I can absolutely change that belief. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And yes, we can change those beliefs.
Yeah.
And you know what? We can even change the belief that our telomeres are shortening.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even though it may be biologically true,
Yeah.
we can change your telomeres for you. And I call it a miracle, just like Einstein said, right? Nothing is a miracle and everything is a miracle. We can change it. And so biological age affects longevity.
And I love how in what we do, we also can help people tremendously with sleep patterns. So tell me more about that.
So yeah, one interesting client I had was a young mom, and her sleep was not being affected by her young children because her husband is very good about, making sure that he would get the baby, bring it to her so she could nurse the baby, and he would take the baby, change the baby, and deal with all of that. So her sleep was not being affected by her baby. Her sleep was being affected by bad dreams. And her bad dreams were associated with death and actually death and motherhood. There were mothers, not her own mother, but even though her mother did have cancer, there were so many people, women in her sphere of influence, aunties and grandmas and all of that, that had died of breast cancer. And now that she had become a mother, she worried so much about leaving her small children, as her auntie had left hers when she died of breast cancer. And so that is what we worked on. We worked on her idea of dying from cancer so that we could fix her sleep pattern.
Right.
So do you see that connection?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that came out under hypnotherapy, right? She knew that she had bad dreams, but she didn't see the whole connection, which was all related back to being a mother. That's where it all started. The bad dreams started.
Right. Oh,
Interesting.
that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the second thing I looked at was subjective age. So I looked at biological age, which was actually the physical body and how it ages. And then I looked at subjective age. How old do you feel? So Marina, how old do you feel? Like at this moment?
Oh, at this moment, how can I answer you? I sometimes feel quite a dichotomy because I feel quite youthful. And interestingly enough, sleep. My cat woke me up super early this morning, and I can feel that. I can feel it in my body today. So that's the thing. But then I know by now how to change my energy as well. So then I feel okay. But there's been a shift lately. There's been a shift in me, and I have to work a little bit harder to feel youthful.
Well, you did celebrate your birthday.
I did. Yes. It's interesting because I bought tickets for me and my husband for a show on Friday night, and he could get seniors discount because he's a bit older than me. And I realized this is my last year that I don't qualify for seniors discount, and that hit me very hard. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Did it hit you in the knee?
It may have, because sometimes I walk. No, I'm teasing. Yeah, it's just interesting because I had to literally sit and tell myself, you know what, snap out of it. I use gratitude a lot, and while my heart is beating me, I still have life left. So why feel old now? It's only a feeling. It's not a reality. And I can choose a new feeling and make that a reality. So,
you know, Marina, we will never be as young as we are this moment.
no.
And we will never, in the time that we've lived, we've never been as old as we are in this moment.
Right.
So we do have a dichotomy. And when you snap out of it, the universe brings you stuff, right? I actually listened to a podcast yesterday. It comes into my in feed. It's on YouTube, right? I just go click and I listen to it. And the woman actually used the word snap out of it. She said, when you get into some kind of a mind frame that's negative, she said, this is what you do. So I'll show you. This is exactly what she did. Okay. So she's standing here on the TED stage, and she goes, when you have to snap out of it, you literally snap out of it.
Okay.
It's your mindset.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Yeah. But that, to me, it goes to any negative thought. If my negative thought is, oh my gosh, I have pain today, I'm getting old, I'm like, no. And I think you said it right at the beginning, Fran. As you get older, for me, it's quality of life. I used to work with seniors, and I could see the difference in the attitude of the ones who are aging phenomenally and the ones who are in absolute agony from a young age. And one of my very close family members, when she turned 50, she literally announced that I'm now on my way dying. And she kept being busy dying, and she literally diminished her existence. She floats through life, and she's now in her 80s, and she has no purpose, and life is hard for her. And I made the choice that will not be me. I will live. I will have a purpose. I will chase that for the rest of my life. There was a lovely gentleman that I used to work with, and he danced. I would sit at my office and he would come past the office dancing, and he would just be very happy. And then he would, and when I would wave at him, every time he would come in and he would say, Marina, forgive me for always dancing, but I only have so many more steps that I can give.
My goodness.
And he one morning he just didn't wake up. And to me, and he was 97 years old.
Yeah.
To me, that's perfect.
And when I looked at the subjective age, how old do you feel? Usually I feel 40, right? About 20 years younger than I actually am. But there's this part of my brain, right? I'll say, oh my God, I feel great. And then the part of my brain says, Fran, you're 60. But then that other part of my brain, which maybe I control, says, wow, I don't look 60. I don't feel 60. I don't do stuff that people that are 60-year-olds do. So there. It's like, oh yeah, well, I'll tell you this. So exactly like you said, you take control of that thought and you tell that thought, no, this is the way it is. No.
And times change, right? Because when our grandparents lived, the life expectancy was only in the 60s. It has changed. So now I think choice is just the most powerful thing we have.
And another friend of mine turned 62. Actually, she turned 63 this weekend, but her mom died at 62. Her oldest sister died at 62. So now what she was believing for her whole 62 year, right? It's like, get me through this year, just get me through and I'll be okay. And so she made a little video to send to us yesterday, and she was like, I made it. But to have that hanging over your head for a whole year, right? To have it hanging over your head, I wonder if that idea of, oh my goodness, is this going to be the day that I get diagnosed with something? Is this going to be the day where the car accident happens? Is this, that in itself, I think, would cause so much anxiety that it would shorten your life, right? To make that conscious choice to say, I feel great, I love my life. No matter what, I've had an amazing life. I've had an amazing life.
I always refer to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I want to bring that up again because his book, You Are the Placebo, actually all his books are brilliant. And if you can find anything on him, it is literally changing your thoughts, changing yourself biologically. If you change your thoughts, there's also the book, The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. Same idea. You can change your cells by your thoughts alone. So we can. Marissa Peer wrote the book that I have it here on my bookshelf behind me. You can feel younger. You can think yourself younger, something along those lines. I read it, but it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible.
It's an easy read. Marissa Peer's books are an easy read. They're deep, and she's also got a lot of wisdom that she's brought in from other sources as well. She probably does quote Joe Dispenza, but she quotes the wisdom from the ages as well. Like I look at people who were doing what we do back at the turn of the 1900s. They were doing this stuff back then. This stuff has been around a long time. Even the Stoics believed this, and Stoics were around at the time of Plato and Socrates. So they knew, even way back then, that by changing your thoughts, change your attitudes, changes your actions, changes your life. So this is not woo-woo. I think the 1900s and up, because of technology, because of the digital age and all of that, because of medicines, right? Because it's so easy to go to a pharmacist and get, whatever you need at
Mhm.
the pharmacist. We lost so much wisdom. We lost the wisdom that had been there because it was so easy to write a prescription instead. And now people like you and me and so many other people, and people who would be viewing this now, would be saying, there's a different way, there's a better way, a way that actually works, that does not have side effects that are unwanted. The side
Right.
effects are good side effects. And so the subjective age, we talked about bad sleep. Yeah, your cat gave you a bad sleep, which made you feeling older this morning. I saw that even in a child at school. The child in my classroom came to school grumpy. She's never grumpy. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah, I had a bad sleep. Why? What happened? My cat. Even for a young person, and they get it. They biologically, their
Mhm.
body knows it. And somewhere along the line, as an adult, we've learned to shut that off, to shut off the feeling of being tired. Just get through this, just do it, just go. And we start not paying attention to our body because work is more important, taking care of your family is more important, taking care of your aging parents is more important. So we learn to not pay attention to the signals our body's giving us. So our body's telling us, hey, Frank, your cat kept you up last night. Hey, just go have a little nap. And then I'm saying, I got all this stuff on my list to get done. It's Sunday. I got to work tomorrow. Let's just power through it. Well, eventually your body starts to say, hello, you've done this too many times. Maybe I'll give you a problem in your knee to slow you down. Maybe I'll give you this aching little back issue there to slow you down. Or maybe you're going to wake up with a migraine that's going to keep you in bed all day. Should we just listen to our body? Pay attention.
That's amazing because because I'm always up at 5 o'clock in the morning to have a quiet time. I find that sometimes it catches up with me. Especially like this morning, my cat decided at 4 o'clock I'm done sleeping. And I didn't go to bed until 11 o'clock last night. So that's not a long sleep. So I would consciously give myself the grace whenever I have a moment to take a nap. And at some point in my life, I felt guilty about that. And I felt that, oh my goodness, I'm wasting time. I don't have time for a nap. And it's something shifted in me because I need that nap. And when my body tells me I need a nap, I need a nap. And if I have the time, why not? Sometimes it's literally in the evenings when my husband wants to watch something on TV and I fall asleep. I don't go to bed yet. It's too early, but it will be 6 o'clock and I will wake up at 7 o'clock and I had a nice nap.
You
So,
know what's interesting about what you just said? Sorry, Marina, go ahead.
it's okay.
What's interesting about what you just said is the grace. You said, I give myself grace. The word grace in itself is a word of love.
Mhm.
Grace means love, in just every possible way, right? Grace is, when I think of the word grace, I think of forgiveness. I think of gratitude. I think of unconditional love. I think of acceptance. I think of positivity. The word grace kind of encompasses it all. So when you say, I give myself how did you say it? The grace of a nap. I think you said that.
Yeah.
That in itself, those words in itself are powerful. And even, I think the word grace can overpower the word, oh, I feel old today. I give myself the
Right.
grace to
Mhm.
feel any feeling I want to feel
Mhm.
because I love myself.
Right. And in that example, Fran, it's where do you put your focus? Are you going to put it in, I didn't sleep well enough last night, or listen, I'm going to give myself grace? It just shifting that energy, like your example of snapping out of it. It's literally something to snap you out of it. And it's all here.
And it's remembering, right? But we remember with constant repetition.
Yeah.
So if you need a sticky note, right? If you need the sticky note on your wall or on your fridge or on your, wherever it is, on the top of your Chromebook or your laptop or whatever, to remind you to give yourself grace.
Right.
Give yourself grace. Oh my goodness, I didn't give myself grace today. I've been so busy doing whatever it is. There's a little sticky note that says, give yourself grace. And you say, oh,
one amazing tool that we have in our toolboxes today is a voice recording app on our phones. I have an iPhone and it comes with one. And I would very frequently make myself short recordings, and it will be like, I give myself permission to nap. I give myself permission to whatever it is, it is that I need. I have about 200 recordings on my phone of just little affirmations. And I would, for example, just snapping out of negative thoughts. Just saying to myself, because you mentioned repetition, put in that recording, I love myself. I'm meant to be. I have purpose. I'm here for a reason. I love my life. I have so much to be grateful for. And listening to that, even for 5 minutes, is sometimes a tool that does that snap for me out of it to a completely different energy, different vibration.
And we talk about energy and vibration. One of the huge important things about women and aging is the vibration we are giving, the vibration we have inside here. You know, you talk about it's the radio station. So the vibration that we have within us attracts the vibration that we get, that we receive from our exterior world. So if we live in negativity, if we live in loss, if we live in don't have enough of, right? How many women, I'm not enough, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. We live in that constant enoughness. When we look next door and they've got the new vehicle or the new, whatever it is, you know, we live in that world of glitz and glamour. My world is not enough. Well, that's what we attract out there. We're not going to attract abundance if we're living in a world of not good enough.
Exactly.
So you speak on it all the time, the power of gratitude. The power of gratitude changes our frequency. The power of saying, I love my life. I am enough. I am enough. I am whole. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am generous. I am whole. I am worthy. I am, you fill in the blank, right?
I wrote this down a while back. And that's another thing that I do. I write things down all the time. And I borrowed this from Abraham Hicks. I'm just trying to find it. And she said, if you say this to yourself every day, you would change your life. So I'm just trying to find it here quickly. But it's along the lines, I am meant to be. I'm here for a reason. And it's just those positive affirmations. Sometimes I include that even with my clients to say those things. And how many people, especially when we age, I find so many of my female clients at our age ask the question, why am I here? We go through so many changes, like physical changes. Our kids leave the house. Our retirement age, some suddenly aches and pains shows up. And then you ask, why am I here? And so to put that into a bit of an affirmation for yourself is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. And that question in itself, why am I here? Well, put it out there. Ask, why am I here? If you are totally asking God, the universe, the creator, why am I here? He's going to give you answers. It'll be in your inbox. It'll be the next person that comes down the street. It'll be the next book you open to the page. He's giving us messages all the time.
Right.
All
And
the time.
I want to bring that word grace in again. At that moment, you can give yourself grace again to accept that, to believe that, you know, I am good enough for this. I can do this.
Yeah. And just the power of the knowledge that all things work together for good.
Mhm.
All things work together for good. So that's scriptural, but it's true. It's true. And so if we look at every occasion, whether it was your breast cancer or whether it was my marriage breakdown, and at the time, it did not feel like a blessing. Did not. Absolutely. And yet, holy, where would we be now? Maybe we'd be in the same spot. I don't know if I would be, but the power that that event created in our lives and the repercussions and the ripple effect, it's unlimited, right? It's unlimited because you and I wouldn't even have known each other.
Right.
So if we can look at the world that way, so we know that we need to eat right. We know that we need to exercise. We know that we need to get enough sleep. We know that lifestyle habits. And another important thing with aging as women is who are in our inner circle. Our inner circle of people. We become like the 5 people we hang out with the most. We become the average of them. So if we tend to have coffee with people that are always complaining, they're complaining about the government, they're complaining about the pandemic, they're complaining about the price of gas, they're complaining about, oh, the list can be endless. You just like, pick something out of the hat and there's something else to complain about. Is that my inner circle? Do I want that to be me? Because we become the average of those 5. So I am so glad I hang out with you, Marina.
Same friend, absolutely. Yeah, it's very interesting because I think my awareness ever since the pandemic became so aware of that negative energy around it and the fear. First of all, in my own life, I had to get rid of fear. And one of the things I've done, and I know I've mentioned it a few times, I do not watch news. I get an email from one of the news stations with breaking news of the day. And if it's something that interests me, I would read the article. But 99.9% of the time, delete, 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 delete. Oh, be very afraid because there's this new thing. Be afraid of this. And my husband and I love this reality TV show. It's about a treasure in an island here in Canada. And we always laugh because they would find this thing and then the announcer would say, can it be? So we always laughing, but that's who we have become as a society. The wonderful woman Byron Katie built her whole business. We talked about that with Chaz Wesley. When people around you, social media, the media says, oh, be afraid, be very afraid. Always ask yourself that question. Do I know for a fact that the thing that I fear is going to happen? No, you don't. It's not possible. So the same with aging. Do I know for a fact that aging is hard? No, I don't. Actually, I'm choosing to make it easy.
I'm choosing to make it fun, just like
that
your
too,
97-year-old friend.
Exactly.
I'm choosing to have playfulness in my life. That's what I choose for being 60.
And Fran, you mentioned something else about what you eat, and because I'm quite a spiritual person, a lot of times I used to feel like, well, if I can create miracles and a lot of things in my life, I should be able to eat a whole bar of chocolate and not gain a pound. And then I realize how much I'm robbing of my purpose, because I'm here for a purpose. And every day that I don't take care of this body, that is the vessel for me to live my purpose, is a day that I rob myself of health. And when that clicked for me, it was much easier to take better care of myself.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Because we are here for a purpose, Marina.
Yeah.
And we might not see it right now, but we, you and me and every other person who's viewing this and every other person on the planet right now was here for and is here for a purpose. And when we can really believe that in our heart, how can we not be enough?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am enough. I am more than enough, because if the creator of the universe decided that I would be created as he created the stars and the planets and all the rest of that, who am I to disbelieve that? Who am I to not acknowledge that? I am here for a reason. And whether that purpose is to be talking to you and our viewers right now, I guess it is, because that's what I'm doing.
And sometimes I want to encourage each of our viewers right now to take a few seconds, and let's just do that, friend. Let's just close our eyes and take a few seconds, be quiet, and find your heartbeat. Feel it in your chest, touch your heart. Find your heartbeat, feel it, hear it, breathe to it. And then know that while there's a heartbeat in you, there's a purpose. And then give gratitude that your heart is still beating you. Just feel that. And just that little act sometimes can bring just that snap into positivity, because there's gratitude involved.
15 seconds,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
About 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's why they say in moments of anxiety, because stress is really an indicator too, as well as of longevity and aging. In moments of anxiety, breathe. Just find your feet. Okay, so you've got your feet on the floor. Okay, I feel my feet. I'm grounded. Those of us that know the language, we know now we're being grounded. We're being grounded to source. Okay. And feel your body. Wherever your body is, feel your body. And just that moment, that 15 or 20 seconds helps us to get grounded again, back into the body rather than into the head where the messy static is. So we're back into the body again. The body is the knower of all knowledge, right? And we give way too much credit up there where the staticky thoughts live.
Yes,
until we
for sure.
harness them.
For sure.
So yeah, it's super interesting. I just find it super interesting to study this kind of stuff, and I love it. I love the passion of it and learning more about how to make my own place in the world a better place so that I can help others as well.
And I want to commend you, Fran, because I think when we get into that positive energy, we become like a magnet. It's something we radiate, and I think you are just a great example of that energy, that that empathetic heart, and the work that you do with children, and the work that you do with your clients, and it's your heart to help people. I think it's just such a beautiful thing to see, and to see how you radiate that, and even at your age be an example. You just ran was it a half marathon or a marathon? I don't know.
The half marathon.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, and that's another thing, Marina, when we talk about body aches, right? So I hadn't practiced enough for this half marathon. Winter in northern Alberta was super hard this year. Lots of ice, lots of blizzards. I just didn't get the practice in. And so, but I paid the money back in November for this April half marathon, and I wanted the bling. I hadn't had any medals in like 3 years of COVID. So, I mean, I go, but when that little twinge in the back started to happen, I I repeated this mantra. I said, I am a beloved child of God, and I inherited all his healing to release anything in my body that's not for my highest good. I just
I
repeated this
love it.
with each stride. And it got easier and easier,
Mhm.
which is quite amazing because, that defies the laws of anything. But it was this mantra that I just kept on repeating. I've inherited the ability to heal by
Nice.
releasing anything not in my highest good.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Our minds are exceptionally powerful, and you and I see that in our work daily, how extremely powerful the mind is. But we see it always in a negative way. And in the work we do is we help people to start to see how they can apply it in a positive way. And this little thing we do is just a little bit of an example of that. So there's so much in our power to change our reality. And the more I learn, the more I want.
I know.
Uh-huh.
I know, it's like we raise our frequency. Every time we learn more, we raise our frequency, and we see how we attract the higher stuff as we raise our own frequency, as we learn more and we practice it more. We see the benefits of it coming to us, whether it's more clients, or whether it's just we're happier people. We see happier people. We attract happier people into our lives, and the more negative people tend to, I don't know, they just leave. They end up leaving, and I don't know. It's super interesting, is all I say.
It's magical. That's all I know.
Yes.
So, Fran, as we're running out of time here, any parting thoughts for our viewers today on aging?
On aging, remember, it's about try to get your sleep habits in, try to get those sleep habits down. Sleep habits are so important to how your mood is the next day, and to increasing your feeling of being, your feeling of age. And once your feeling of age is better, well, that does affect your longevity. If you feel young, you will live a longer, happier life. That's what the studies show. If you feel it, and feeling it often has to do with reminding, and catching those words. I feel old today. No, you don't. I love you. I love you. You can feel old if you need to, honey. Feel better now? Yeah. That's all it takes.
That's
Acknowledging your feeling and then snapping out of it.
I think a lot of time people think that if you try to live this positive life, you just have to be positive all the time. No, you just have to catch your thoughts, acknowledge them, and release them. Let it go.
2022,
Yeah.
New Year's resolution.
Right. Just let it go. Thank you so much, Fran. This was lovely. Really enjoyed this today. And we are starting a brand new month. Our next episode is in June. And we are going to talk about forgiveness in the month of June. We will have some guests for you, and we will talk about the absolute miracle of forgiveness. Yeah.
Miracle is right.
Yeah. So thank you again. We are the Hopenning, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.